So, welcome to the first Lwtalx. So, what this is, um, it's sort of like TEDx Talk, but our school's version, where we just talk about random topics, anything. Of course, I chose mental health because it's May, and that's what this month is also about currently, mental health month. So yeah, let's get this thing started. So, a couple of the points that I will be talking about will include what is mental health, first of all. Um, what are some mental health issues or diseases, depending on what you call them? Um, what can you do to help? Meaning, like, what can you do to help the person? What are some methods for controlling mental health issues? And how the current pandemic is taking a toll on mental health, such as anxiety and depression, which are just some of the themes, by the way. Um, So yeah, the first question is, what is mental health? Well, when we say mental health, we're usually talking about the brain, and that usually centers on emotions or has to do with emotions, how people act, how people feel, and then in turn that determines what you, I guess, what you act on. That determines what you act on. So that's basically what mental health is. And the health part is, of course, having a healthy mindset, just being close with God, being safe in that mindset. Um, and yeah. So the next question is, what are some mental health issues or diseases? Um, a couple of them are, or well, at least one is bipolar disorder, which is basically when you act as if though like your mood goes up and down. It changes like very fast. Like one minute you'll be happy, the next minute uh you'll be sad, the next minute you'll be angry. Um some of the symptoms can or like one of the symptoms can be like going on long rants, like just like getting angry out of nowhere. It's, yeah. Uh let's see. Another one is depression. Now depression is it's when you get sad, but you really don't know how to control it per se. You don't know how to like deal with it. It's just there. Um, depression is also like it can also be in link with anxiety, which is the fear of being around people, being around like loud noises, being around anything that's like going on that's very loud and just social. Um, let's see. The next point of topic will be what can you do to help? There's many things you can do to help. You can talk to a person. Um, you can like refer them to God. You can tell them about Jesus. You can refer them to a therapist. Uh, you can basically just sit there and listen and be like a therapist. But as long as you get to that person before they make any scarce mistakes. What are some methods for controlling mental health issues? Now, this kind of goes hand in hand with the last point topic, but like some people will use medication, like say for instance bipolar disorder. Some people take medication for that to control their mood. Um, Another one is depression, like antidepressants. It's in the name, antidepressants, so it's supposed to make you um not depressed or not as depressed. Another one would be to go to a therapist. And the reason why I guess like not because this is a problem that plagues the black community a lot. It like just plagues it, and especially black men or men in general. We're meant to think that it's not okay to talk about your feelings or it's not okay to share if something's wrong because that's perceived as being weak or just like in a sense, not manly. We're also like it's also perceived as okay not to cry. Like it's not okay not to, or it's not okay to cry. Sorry, it's not okay to cry. Like that's another one. Um, and yeah, just off of those like assumptions, it can basically make the person like one at the same time like want to tell somebody, but at the same time they can't because they don't have any outlet to go to. So many times that person will sit in silence and they will just be stuck with that, and sometimes that may even resort to suicide. um let's see, another thing that will resort to suicide is bullying. People, I guess, and especially like kids, like ever since like elementary, you know, it gets worse and worse. So like every time, you get up there for some people, like you go up to the next grade, it gets worse and worse. And basically it's like people just they say stuff and they continue to say stuff and not knowing what the person, not even caring what the person is like going through, let alone like not even asking because they don't care. But like that's just another list that can, or not another list, but that's just another thing that can push them to commit suicide or to be depressed, because that you're taking away somebody's happiness, you're taking away somebody's joy. School, it really shouldn't be like it's for learning and making friends. It shouldn't be a place that makes you want to think about stuff like suicide or be depressed or have anxiety. It's supposed to be a safe space. Let's see. What what other stuff that I want to talk about? How the and my last topic is how the pandemic is taking a toll on mental health itself. During this pandemic, a lot of like everybody is inside, so they can't go see their therapist. Um, so that's like an issue off the bat, because if you can't see your therapist, then who do you turn to like let those thoughts out that are in your head that are toxic? Who do you turn to? You basically have nobody to turn to except for God. But I mean, that's if you're Christian. If you're not Christian, then who do you have to turn to? But us Christians, thank God, we have God to turn to. We can talk to God about our issues, and we can give it to Him. But even then, like we still get depressed. Like even as Christians, like we can still get sad. Like it's not a one thing for like just one person. Like if you're Christian, you can't get depressed, you can't be sad, or you can't like do this. It happens to everybody. It it's like it's nothing exclusive. It's like for everybody. Like anybody can get it. Anybody can have it happen to them. Another issue is trauma. So like childhood traumas, sometimes like when something happens in your childhood that like just really makes you break down every time you think about that thought, that is called childhood trauma. In like simple terms, it's called childhood trauma. And sometimes people will, or sometimes that can be a source of depression or anxiety because of that. Uh, let's see. And pretty much like how, I guess, like how the pandemic is taking a toll on mental health. Like it is taking a toll, but at the same time, like there's like video calls for like therapists and stuff. So like if you're feeling some type of way, or if you're feeling depressed, if you feel anxiety, feel that you have anxiety, go get yourself checked out, because that is pretty much very important. That is very important for yourself, because you don't want to end up leaving this world with a life that isn't really finished yet, if that makes sense. You don't want to just leave this world early because of depression, anxiety. So You just have to like go and find that help, whatever that help is. Whether it be therapy, medication, like changing your diet, like whatever it is, as long as you get some help. But then at the same time, the medication route, it it can be a danger to you sometimes. People can get addicted to it, and they can end up overdosing on it and then passing away. So the medication route is kind of like something that has to be like, you gotta pay attention to it. You can't just think, oh, I'm gonna take 5 or 6 pills and like this problem is automatically gonna go away. That's also another reason why some people like do drugs. That is another reason why, because they want to numb the pain of whatever is blocking them, whatever's going on with them. They want to try to numb the pain of that because they don't want to, or they feel like it's not safe to let anybody know, and they feel like it's just safe to just keep that inside and locked in. And yeah, so I guess that's me. I was. Oh yeah, and one more point. Uh, Here's a really good question. Why is our generation plagued with the most issues of depression and anxiety? Because people are judgmental nowadays. They don't care. Like it's no humility, or it's very little humility in this world that is hard to find. And in 2020, you would think, oh, that shouldn't be the case. Everybody should have humility, right? Just like in 2020, racism should be gone by now. It should have been gone, but it's not. It's just not. People haven't learned that lesson yet. And it may take years. It may take until like Jesus comes back. We don't know. But all we can do is basically pray for them, hope that they change, and that's it. You can't really like spend your life worrying about like other people's opinions, or you can't really spend your life worrying about how people perceive you, or like what people think about this or that or the other. You can't really spend your life doing that, because then you don't have yourself. You just depend on other people's approval. You don't have your self approval. And then another part is, you don't want to give yourself away too much. It's okay to say no. Like if somebody is asking you, you can be nice, but at the same time, you can also say no. You don't have to like just give yourself away like that, because then you don't have any time for yourself, and that can be a really, really dangerous thing. All right. Any questions, answers? Any? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I want to try the rope swing. I'm going to land in the hot tub. I'm going to go to the toilet.
Can't hear.
Marcus, that was a wonderful presentation. And it was really good. Informative, very well presented. I thank you for sharing that. And I'm really proud of how you did that and organized that information. Marcus has now opened up the floor to any questions regarding or comments regarding anything that he has shared with mental health. And I think the way he ended with the question of why does it seem like today's youth are struggling with so much depression? We know that the rates of suicide have gone up, especially amongst African-American young people. And so I thought that was just a really good question to kind of get our Q&A going. So he's asked us, why do we think depression seems to be a major struggle with today's youth?
Can I go?
Yes, just jump in there.
So I think part of it has to do with the way children are socialized and how coping mechanisms are or not instilled in them.
Yes.
I don't think that people understand the very huge responsibility of molding another individual, and that is arming them with a strong sense of who they are, supporting them through any negative emotions or negative responses that they may have to encounter when they go out into the world. I think that I think we need to do a better job as parents of empowering them with coping mechanisms that are real world coping mechanisms, and not video game as an kind of as a place to go. Just instead of dealing with the issues, we just let them go and indulge them in any kind of material thing they need, rather than empowering them and having real conversations.
Are you speaking yet?
About
I finished speaking, but now it's like the question Q&A.
About how to cope with the real world.
Okay, I'll do it.
I think we need to do a better job as parents. That's my opinion, myself included.
I need this real quick.
And being sensitive to when they say things. Sometimes, when you say myself included, it just kind of triggered me. Sometimes kind of brush them off. They're saying a little something that may not seem important. It may seem like, why are you tripping off that? But it's something that's really something going on inside that maybe is, sometimes it starts as a little seed. I remember I have a friend who I grew up with who is severely mentally ill right now, but he didn't start out like that. He was a beautiful young man. He was a poet, artist. He was an architect, graduated from Howard, and somewhere around his 30s, something triggered in him. I keep going back over our childhood, like, is there something that we missed as we were going along? And I found that there was this one incident where he was talking to my brother and he asked him a question. It was a little strange, but not too strange. And I feel like that was the seed. Sometimes our kids say things that it's like it reveals as a seed of negativity being planted in their spirit. And not really talking through whatever that seed is, eventually blossoms into something.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll have to listen to them.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments about what Marcus shared?
Marcus, I just want you to say that I'm very proud of you. I just want to say that I'm extremely proud of you. You are, this is wonderful. I'm very, very proud of you.
Yes. And I am Judah and Noah, which I think is Carissa's. Am I saying your name right, Carissa? She says she thinks social media plays a big part in depression of our youth. I definitely think that.
Yeah, I was thinking that because I know when we were growing up, we had our own things that we went through, but I feel like nowadays it's like so much for them to juggle, like to figure out the school thing, to figure out the social media thing. And like my son wants to have a YouTube channel, and I for a few reasons don't want him to have it, but one of the biggest reasons is because I don't want him to get caught up in counting likes and deciding on who he is based on the amount of likes that he got or the amount of views or whatever it is that he wants from YouTube. But I think for him to be so young, I don't want him already determining his worth based on how many views somebody gave on his video or how many likes and stuff. And I feel like for kids, like even for adults, a social media can be addictive. So for kids to figure out, they're still learning who they are, and then to have to try to juggle, okay, who am I on social media? And then what do people see me as, and trying to put up this facade and still learning who they are and still growing. I feel like that can cause a lot of anxiety and depression in youth before they're ready for that.
Absolutely. It impacts adults negatively, so I'm sure it's not easy for children.
Yes. And when you talk about coping mechanisms, one of the things I'm trying to teach my own kids, now they're not on social media yet. They are kind of interested in it, but it kind of, even through the gaming world, they can kind of get into that. I'm trying to show them, first of all, how to take what happens seriously, and how to step away from screen, like without me telling them you've had enough, without saying this is your screen time. And one of the things we've done is I tell them, like, if you want to do this, like, say we like to watch movies in the evening as a family. So I'm like, well, if you want us to watch a family movie, you got to get off by a certain time. And I'm trying to get them to learn, I don't need this thing here. You know, I don't need this screen. I don't need the people commenting on the screen to make me feel accepted. You know, Martha said something earlier, as Christians, we go to God. Like, I'm trying to teach them that really all you need is God's, you know, connection, you know.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, Marcus stepped away for a minute. But I just want to thank you all for coming out. This was a really nice turnout. We have like 13 people, and some of it's doubled up. So I think that this was a great first meeting. I will be recording. I've recorded this, so I will be putting the video of it. If you are a friend of mine or on Marcus's family page, I'm going to be tagging both of his parents on the post of how this went. Please comment and share, and I'm gonna make it public and share. And oh, it was awesome. He did a great job, because that we want to continue to encourage people, because we're gonna be doing these every week on through the summer.
Okay.
Giving the kids a voice and opportunity to speak on literally any topic that they have. We also are open to kids who aren't in the school to participate in this. So if you have a young person in your home that would like to speak, please encourage them, and you out tell your friends. Like, if they have something, they just can't be foul, can't use foul language, has to be really either inspirational or educational. So those are the two purposes. Okay. But yeah, this was really great. Marcus, did you have anything else? Did anybody else have any questions or comments for Marcus?
Great job, son.
Thank you.
It was excellent, Marcus. It was excellent.
Marcus, I have a question, Marcus. What made you decide to do this topic?
I just think it's like a really important topic. It's not really of a decision, but I mean, more so, like, since I'm a teenager as well, I understand where other teenagers are coming from so far when they talk about depression or being depressed, having anxiety. I know where they're coming from. Basically.
Yeah. And you said some things that I know really connect with what people were saying. I think you were one of the ones when he first started talking about this, you were telling him that he was preach Marcus or something like that. Wasn't that you? I thought that was you. It was like Khalil. Was it? Okay. Well, if no one has any other comments or questions, we're going to end it here for the evening, and we'll be right back here next Monday at 7. Please spread the word to others. It doesn't take much time to hear their voices and to educate us a little bit on things. Marcus, we want to thank you for sharing with us today. We really appreciate you.
Marcus.
Thank you.